President Trump turned off the press that makes the pennies. Why and how is it going to affect our economy and your taxes? Let's talk about it. I bet most of you don't even know that thousands of dollars in pennies get lost every single year. Whether they get thrown in the garbage can, get tossed out in the field somewhere, people throw them across the parking lot. Most people don't care about pennies, so they just toss them away. And the ones that are found is very small compared to the number of pennies that actually get lost and never found again. So when the government has to reproduce and print new pennies, it costs them tons and tons of money because a penny is only worth 1 cent. However, it probably costs 3 or 4 cents to print 1 penny. That isn't worth the cost of printing new pennies. So I can kind of understand why the federal government doesn't want to print pennies anymore. However, without the pennies being printed, how is it going to affect you and I? So when you look at prices, most companies in the United States always use the penny factor to make it look like something is cheaper than what it really is. And they use the cents, 97 cents, 99 cents, 85 cents, 33 cents. And every cent collected by a company adds up in the yearly total at the end by the products that they sell. So now that there's no pennies being printed, how are these going to factor into the pricing, and how is it going to affect us, the consumer? Or is the penny disappearing going to affect us? So first, let's talk about dollar and cents. And when you go into any store to spend money and you have that penny up on the register, is this going to affect you? Well, the answer is really no, because when you pay by your ATM card, the bank, the numbers is just a transaction, so they can go ahead and use that 1 cent value to pull it out of the number factor in your bank. So it's not going to affect us at all. And I don't believe that any company is going to get rid of the 1 cent factor, because unless we totally run out of pennies and you can't pay cash for it down to the last cent, then basically they're just going to tell you, well, you got to use your bank card. So I think that we're all going to be pretty safe from losing the 1 cent factor on the pricing that these stores use. And I was asked by somebody a while back, how is it going to affect us on our taxes? Well, taxes is a big part of everyday life in the city that you live in. Because when you go, let's say, to a McDonald's and you buy a coffee and it costs you $1, and then you got to pay 7 or 8 cents in tax afterwards, or if it's factored into the price. I don't know how it is in your state. But in California, if you buy $1 coffee, you have to pay the tax on top of that. So it says $1, but in the total, you're going to be paying like $1.08. Now, it's not going to be 5 cents, because if they were to remove the 1 cent factor, then they couldn't charge you 7 or 8 cents. They would have to either charge you 5 cents or 10 cents, and nobody's going to do that. So basically, with the phones that they are today, everybody orders from their phones, everybody pays on their phones, on the little bank things that they have on their phones, and a lot of people don't really carry cash with them anymore. So rest assured, I don't think that getting rid of the manufacturing of pennies is really going to affect the 1 cent value in any part of our country. It's not going to affect you. It's not going to affect me, because although there's no printing of pennies today, pennies are still used. So I think you could rest assured that everything will be okay, and I think life will continue with the 1 cent factor, even if you ain't got a penny in your pocket. Thanks for listening.